Hi everyone, in this video I am going to explain the concept of constructors in object-oriented programming environment. So in object-oriented environment, the constructor is nothing but it is a special type of member function of a particular class which can use to initialize the object of a class. So in C++, the constructor is automatically called when an object of a class is created. So object is also called as an instance. So when you create an instance of a class, so it automatically calls your constructor. So constructor is a special member function. So it doesn't having any return types. So like your normal functions. So now we'll see the properties of a constructor. So constructor has a name. It's similar to your class name. Suppose whatever the class name you have, your constructor name is also the same thing. And constructors, they don't have any return type. And the constructors are called automatically when an object is created. And you always place your constructor at the public section of your class. And the last property is, if we do not create or any specify any constructor in your class, the C++ compiler it generate a default constructor for an object of your class. So there are different types of constructors in C++. One is default constructor, and second one is parameterized, and third one is copy constructor. So default constructor is nothing but as a name itself, the constructor doesn't take any arguments. So simply suppose my class name is student. So I can take my default constructor like this, student of. So now my constructor name is similar to my class name. It doesn't take any argument. Right. So now in your program, whenever you want to initialize your data members of a class with some default values, so then you are going to use a default constructor in C++. Whereas the constructor of type parameterized, so we have a constructor, so that is of your class name, and now it consisting of some parameters. Suppose if I am taking two parameters here, suppose string name, so which is one data member of my class student I am going to initialize later. So now this is of int age. So now these are two parameters I am going to pass in my constructor, so that you are trying to assign some values to this. See, simply you can assign like name equals to some suppose Devi, and then you can assign age equals to suppose it's 30, right? So like this your parameterized constructor will do. So it is try to initialize your constructor with some values, like you can initialize the values directly, or else you can pass the values of your constructor at the time of an object is created in your C++. There are two ways, like you can directly assign a value or else you can assign a values at the time of your object is created. Simply here you can use name equals to, okay, and here I'm taken as name 1, and then here I'll taken as age 1. So simply you can give name equals to name 1, and then age equals to age 1. Okay, so now you can initialize the values of name and age later when an object of your class is created. So this is of the parameterized constructor. So whereas copy constructor, so copy constructors are used to copy the content of one object to the another object. Like you can create any number of objects for your class, right? So that if you are wishing to copy the content of one object to another object, that can be accomplished by using this copy constructor concept in object oriented programming. So I'll try to execute all different types of constructors in this session. So this is a default constructor. So see here, this is your header file, hash include IO string, and then you can use your namespace, that is your standard input output space, that is of std. So now this is your class. So it is better to take a camel case for naming of a class. So simply you can use the starting letter as capital, right? So here student is my class name, and these are my data members. See here, so So string name, roll number, age, branch. So these are my data members. Okay, so then what is your constructor? Your constructor is always takes at the public space of your class. So now this is a constructor. So in this default constructor, your constructor doesn't take any argument. Simply you can take like this. So now in default constructor, you are trying to assign some default values. So see, I'm assigning name with some value and roll number, age and branch with some values. And after that, I have a display method. So this is a normal method. In this display method, I'm going to display the contents of all my data members like name, roll number, age and branch. So cout we can use whatever you want to print on your screen. So simply cout name and then you can display your name and roll number by using data member roll number and age by using age and branch by using branch. And after that you can close your display function and then you can close your class with semicolon. And then you can create your main function because your C++ compiler will execute your program from main function only. So whenever you are trying to create an object for your class, now it is search for a class which you are defined earlier. So now here in my main function, simply I am creating one object to my class student. So my object name is S here. So in default constructor, the default values is already assigned in your program. So whenever you can create this object of a class, it automatically called your default constructor. So now it will take all the values of your name, roll number, age and branch and it will assign to data members. And when you call object dot some method name like s dot display is nothing but we are trying to call this display method. So it will display the name, roll number, age and branch of your student. So I'll try to execute this program. So I just compile and run this. So see, the name of the student is Devi, roll number is 5 and age is 25 and branch is computers. So these are the default values which I assigned in my program. So now I'll try to explain the second that is of your parameterized constructor with another example. So that I'll make it as a multiple line comment because this program now I don't need. So okay. So now here I'll just open this. So I'll place this one before because we are make it as okay. So now here, so I can close this here. So these are multiple line comments. So now it is a program for a parameterized constructor. Okay. So this is my header file and this is my namespace and here I am creating one class name rectangle. So I have two data members length and breadth which is of type double and the access specifier here is a private. So these two data members of a private data members and I can use public because my constructor is always I can declare in my public section only. So this is my constructor because the name of this method is similar to your class name. So this is of a parameterized constructor. I can pass two parameters because I want to assign values for length and breadth. So when an object of this class is created. So simply see length equals to L. So whatever the value I am passing and that is assigned to through this L and the second value is assigned to your breadth B. So now this is a method which you are trying to calculate the area of this rectangle. Okay, so by using the length and breadth which is passed by the user at the time of object creation. So after this my class is closed. So see here, this is my main function, and in that main function I am creating one object that is R for my rectangle class, and here I am passing two values. So the first value is assigned to my length and the second value is assigned to my breadth. So you can take any values here. So here I am taken my length and breadth is of type double, so that I can pass this floating point values. And you can create any number of objects for your class. Here I am creating one more object which is named R1, and here also I am passing two parameters, that is 8.5 and 6.3. So now I am trying to find the two versions of rectangle areas. So the area of rectangle 1, which will take these values. So now see, it is called R dot calculate area. So whenever you call R dot calculate area, so now it will pass these two values and those will be assigned to your length and breadth. So whenever you call R1 dot calculate area, so now this object is called and it will take these two values, that is 8.5 and 6.3 is take. So now that using that it will calculate the area of your rectangle. So I'll try to execute this program. So I'll compile and run this. So now you can observe that the area of a rectangle 1 is 90.3 and area of rectangle 2 is 53.55. So this is a parameterized constructor. So now I'll try to explain about copy constructor. So because of that I'll make it as multiple line comment so that your program is going to be okay. So you can take like this. Because I want to explain each and everything in a same editor, because of that I'll make like this. Okay, so now I'll take the code for copy constructor. So what your copy constructor will do? So the copy constructor, the purpose is we are going to see, this is your copy constructor. Okay, so we want to copy the content of one object to the another object. So in previous example we are going to we are find the area of a rectangle two versions, because we are taken two objects and we are passing different values. So whereas I'll take the same example and here I'm trying to create a second object, and that object will take the content of the first object. See how you can make like this. See here, this is a copy constructor which is used to copy the content of one object to another object. So this is your rectangle class which will consist in two data members, length and breadth. And now I'll take a parameterized constructor so to pass my data member values. And after that, so this is a copy constructor. See, you can take your constructor and this constructor will take object, the reference of an object. Right, see here I am passing one object that is R2. Here I am passing reference. So now length equals to this R2 dot length and breadth equals to R2 dot breadth. So now we are taken one method which is used to calculate the area of your rectangle. Simply it will return length and breadth, product of length and breadth. See here in this main function. So this is my rectangle and my object is R. Here I am passing these two values, 10.5 and 8.6. So whereas I didn't pass any values to my second object. What I simply do, I can copy, means simply I can assign the first object to the second object. So what it will do, it will copy the content of this object to R1. The content of this object to R1. So whenever you do like this, so now this copy constructor is called, okay, and it will take that object as reference. So now this ampersand R2 will take R as reference, and then R dot length it will be given to length, and R dot breadth it will be copied into breadth itself. So now it will calculate area of rectangle 1 and 2, and both you get the same answers because the values of the first object is copied into the second object. So I'll try to execute this program. I'll just compile and run this. So now you can find out that the area of rectangle 1 is 90.3 and area of rectangle 2 is also 90.3. Because of the reason, the second object you are trying to copy it with the first object. So this is the entire concept of constructor in object oriented programming.